Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a deep dive on something I think we can all relate to on some level,
Mhm.
raising a respectful child.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a tough one,
Go
right?
ahead.
So you guys sent in
Right.
a bunch of tips. We have 5 of them here that seem to be really resonating
Okay.
about raising respectful kids. So let's just jump right in.
Yeah, and what I think is interesting about these tips um, is that it's not just about, the do this or don't do that. It's really about building those core social and emotional skills
Right.
that are going to last a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Okay, so tip number 1
Okay.
is all about modeling respectful behavior. And I feel
Yeah.
like we all know this on some level. But I'm curious to kind of dig into what that really means because I think we all think we're doing a great job, but are we?
Well, and think about it this way.
Okay.
You know how children are very good at mimicking, right?
Oh, yeah.
They learn by copying everything we do.
The bill of sponges, yeah.
Exactly. And that doesn't go away,
Right.
even as their brains develop.
Mm-hmm.
They're really keyed in to how we're treating other people.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not just, the big things. It's how you treat, the cashier at the grocery store,
Right.
the barista, anyone that you're interacting with. They're watching that.
It's like they can sniff out inauthenticity like nobody else. Like they know.
Yes.
Which is so interesting. And that actually reminds me of something
Okay.
that I read in one of these tips. It said, it's not just even about saying please and thank you.
Right.
It's deeper than that. It's
Yeah.
about the tone. It's about the body language.
It's about, yeah.
It's about conveying respect,
Right.
even when maybe we don't feel it.
Exactly. Because in the real world, you're not always going to agree with everybody.
That's true.
Right. And so teaching them to navigate different viewpoints respectfully, I think, is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And that ties in perfectly to our next point,
Okay.
which is teaching them to really listen.
Yes.
And I feel like, especially in today's, fast-paced world,
Right?
where everyone wants to talk over each other,
Yeah.
everyone wants to be heard,
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to actually listen. So what are your thoughts on how to teach kids to truly listen?
Well, and I think it's more than just not interrupting.
Oh, for sure.
It's really about active listening.
Yes.
When your child is talking to you, put your phone down.
Right.
Make eye contact with them. Ask clarifying questions.
Be present.
Be present and try to, really hear what they're saying and understand their perspective.
Yes.
Even if you don't agree with it,
Yes.
but try to at least understand it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's so tough
It is tough.
as adults, I think, to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's such an important skill to teach our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Oh,
what about those moments
yeah.
when you're trying to do all the things, you're modeling, you're being respectful, you're teaching them to listen,
Mm-hmm.
but inevitably
Okay.
disrespectful behavior happens? The third tip here
Yep.
is to address it immediately, which
Yeah.
that feels very stressful when you're in the moment.
It does.
But what are your thoughts on how to best address it?
Well, and this is, I think, where it gets really, really interesting because you have to walk this fine line
Okay.
between being firm about the fact that, the behavior is not okay, but also making sure that the child understands why the behavior is not okay.
Right.
And I think where a lot of parents, we tend to fall short is we just yell,
Right.
or we
Yeah.
punish and we don't actually take the time to teach.
Yes.
So it's about how do you make that a learning moment for the child?
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's about guiding them ultimately
Exactly, yeah.
to make different choices next time, right?
That's exactly.
Yes. Okay. So number 4, praise respectful actions.
Oh, I love this one.
I love this one too because so often, like you were saying, we focus on the negative, but
Yeah.
but how important is it to celebrate the good?
It's so important. And it doesn't have to be this big thing.
Right.
It's just those little moments of like, hey, I noticed you did XYZ. Thank you so much for doing that. Like just acknowledging it,
Right. Recognizing it.
recognizing it. Exactly. And you know what they say, you get more bees with honey.
Right.
So
Catch them being good.
yes,
Yeah.
catch them being good.
That's what they always say.
Yes.
And then this last tip
Okay.
kind of, I think, encompasses in a way all of the other tips,
Right.
which is helping your children understand empathy, like how their actions impact others. And that's really the key.
Right.
Is, if a child can put themselves in the other person's shoes
Yes.
and actually feel what it's like to
Yeah.
be on the receiving end,
Right.
that's when real change can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so true. And it's not easy.
It's not.
It's not easy to teach. It's not easy to do.
Yet.
Um, but, you know, I think that if we can leave our listeners with one thing to really think about
Yeah.
from this deep dive, it's, you know,
It's a journey.
it's a journey.
Right. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of patience.
It does.
It takes consistency. It takes, commitment, but it's so worth it,
It is.
to raise good humans.
Absolutely. And, it makes you think, too, like, we often talk about this in the context of raising children. Right.
But shouldn't this be something that we all strive for
Absolutely.
in all of our interactions?
Yes, 100%.
With our friends or loved ones just out in the world?
Yeah. Treat everyone with respect.
Yeah, exactly. Something to think about.
Something to think about.
Well, thank you so much for this deep dive.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I think this was a really important one, and honestly, we could probably talk about this for another hour.
I'm sure we could.
But we'll leave it there for today.
Sounds good.
Until next time.
All right, bye.